What's going on, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. I hope that you guys are having a wonderful Wednesday evening. So, Leandria Johnson, if you guys don't know her, she is an incredible Grammy Award winning gospel artist. She was arrested in downtown Greenville after witnesses reported seeing an intoxicated woman screaming at patrons, according to the police report. Let's listen to this clip really quickly from the news, and then I'll give some commentary afterwards. Hold on, it's really quick.
A Grammy Award-winning gospel singer was booked in the Greenville County Detention Center for public intoxication. Greenville police say after following up on a complaint, they found Leandria Johnson on North Lawrence Street shouting profanities Monday afternoon. They say in talking with her, they discovered she'd been drinking and arrested her for public intoxication as well as open container of alcohol.
Okay, a few things before I get into this article. You guys remember when Tom Brady finished his football season, and I don't know if it was Miami, it was somewhere in Florida, and he had to be physically removed from the boat. I mean, people were literally holding him up. He was so inebriated. People were cheering for him. Nobody thought to call the police. No one thought to arrest him for public intoxication. Just as just an observation. It's interesting because I can't think of a bar that I've ever gone to, especially during my college days, where I went to what was known as a party school in the Midwest. And I can't think of one weekend where there wasn't some foolish college student yelling and screaming, male and female, okay, yelling and screaming because they hadn't learned their limit yet. But I've never heard of somebody getting arrested for public intoxication. Not to say that it's not against the law, right? So is jaywalking, so is spitting on the sidewalk. In New Orleans, for example, they actually serve you alcohol on the streets. You can open carry. You can have alcoholic beverages in New Orleans, like Bourbon Street, for example, during Mardi Gras is very famous for that. But let's go ahead and keep reading this article. So the report from Greenville police said the officers were called Monday night to an area outside of Bricktop after a report of a disturbance. The report said that an officer who was already in the area found a woman later identified as Leandria Johnson screaming profanities at a man walking with her. According to the report, Johnson was holding a cup of amber-colored liquid that she handed to a friend who tried to hide it. The report said the liquid smelled like alcoholic beverage. Okay. The report also said that Johnson showed multiple signs of being heavily intoxicated, including having an odor of alcohol and slurred and disconnected speech. It said that Johnson was also notably swaying. Due to the original complaint and behavior seen by the officers, Johnson was arrested and cited for public intoxication and an open container on a public street. So, again, that's her mugshot in the middle. But I wanted to show, also some glamour shots and shots of her achievements because a mugshot and, being taken at one of the lowest parts of your life isn't the end all be all of who you are. But I always find it interesting that, like, you guys know that girl Haley. I don't know her last name, but she's now known as the Hawk Tuah girl, where they asked her about, her intimate encounter with some guy. She said, you got to Hawk Tuah on that thing. And while it's funny, she was also publicly intoxicated and she ended up getting all kind of brand deals, endorsements. She's now a multimillionaire. She has one of the top podcasts on streaming services. So it's just interesting to me how the laws are applied and who they are applied to. This country is so punitive, especially toward people of color, Black people more specifically. We are so targeted, and it breaks my heart because I'm like, I'm trying to be so cautious about the way that I move in these streets now, and I'm trying to, just let my friends and my family, my loved ones know. I feel like we're almost being targeted. And not to get on a soapbox or anything, but I wanted to share my views, my thoughts, because, like Brent Brett Favre, whatever, however you say his last name. I don't know. It's late. I'm tired. Brent Favre, from the football player who stole all that money from the people in Mississippi. He's walking around a free man. He's actually still tweeting judgmental foolishness, and people are still on his Twitter lighting him up as they should, asking him when is he going to repay the money that he stole, the millions of dollars that he stole, that he did not need, by the way, to, instead of that money going to people who really did need it, the poorest of the poor. And I think it was, I think a good chunk of it was COVID relief funds as well. But he took that money and he stole it to be used for his daughter's volleyball stadium, which he could have easily earned through speaking endorsements or speaking engagements, or write the check himself and, use it as a tax write-off, whatever. But instead, he chose to be sinister and just take from vulnerable people. Because I feel like Leandria really, if you know anything about her backstory, she's really had a tough life. And again, I'm not making excuses because I understand the public intoxication is against the law, especially if you're out here screaming at people. But my interpretation of how the law is applied into who, that's my issue. Going back to the Tom Brady example, right? Because this woman, she's not just anybody either. She's a Grammy Award winning artist. But Tom Brady was so inebriated, he could barely even stand. And there's countless people that I can think of who are celebrities who are inebriated publicly. And she's the only one that I can think of off the top of my head who's been arrested for public intoxication. Now, I'm going to make a separate video about Karen Huger in just a little bit because her trial started today in regards to her DUI. But even that's interesting, the way that Karen, how her incident was covered versus Real Housewives of Orange County, Shannon Bedour, who did the exact same thing. And actually, Shannon, I think, ran into people's yards. Karen just hit a tree. But I'm not trying to, diminish either because they're very serious. But Leandria wasn't driving, so she was just, being loud and being obnoxious and yelling at somebody. So I feel like it's really interesting that she would be arrested for public intoxication. They didn't give her a ticket. They didn't give her friends a fine, but they actually arrested her and gave her took her to jail for public intoxication and open container. I'm telling you, it feels like we live in almost 50 different countries, even though, of course we have federal regulations, but again, public intoxication is legal in New Orleans, or, selling intimate acts. I'm trying to watch my words, but that's legal in Nevada. It depends on where you are in the country. Some states are extremely, red and conservative. Other states are blue and a lot more liberal. I feel like if she was in California or, a bigger city other than Greenville, I feel like the cops would have just turned the other way. I've never heard of anybody like in New York City getting arrested for public intoxication, but unfortunately, a man just lost his life in New York City because he was mentally ill. And then the person who unalived him was not only, let off the hook, but invited to have dinner with the president elect. This country, sometimes the moral compass is really concerning at times. It's really, the ethics and the value system of a lot of Americans. It makes me question a lot of things. But going back to Leandria, I hope that she can find the healing that she said earlier. She's on her healing journey, as we all are. But I hope that she can find it outside of a bottle. I hope that she can, of course, she's a woman of faith, But I hope that she has a strong support system around her that allows her to, have other more healthy coping mechanisms. Um, she is so talented. I love her voice. I love how open she is. She's always been, so transparent about her backstory, and she's overcome a lot. But oftentimes, those traumatic events that people have overcome and survived, it leaves them still in survivor mode. And so that's why I'm a huge advocate of therapy, because a lot of times people will do things just out of their subconscious. You're not even fully aware. We all have blind spots. And so I'm hoping that after this, because I think it can't be like a public intoxication is more than likely a misdemeanor, that she can learn from this and grow from her mistake. You know what I mean? Like she can not go out. Like if she chooses to drink, drink responsibly, do so at home or at a friend's house, not where there's a lot of off duty bored cops looking to arrest somebody. Not to say that they weren't, like I said, doing their job, because she was causing a public disturbance and yelling and screaming at the man, but she's the first celebrity I've ever heard of to be arrested for public intoxication and having an open container. So I hope that she gets the help that she needs, the healing that she needs, and I hope that this isn't something that, you know, is harmful to her and her career. I hope she can move forward with her life. But you guys, let me know your thoughts. What do you think about Leandria getting arrested for public intoxication? Drop down in the comments below. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk with you in the next one. Take care, Aces. Bye.